Eh bien, bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue à la 11e Réunion internationale des anciens. Que vous soyez en ligne ou ici à Genève, et je suis ravie de voir autant de gens présents ce début d'après-midi pour l'Assemblée générale de l'Association des anciens de l'Institut. Mon nom est Karine Leu, je suis responsable des relations avec les anciens de l'Institut. Donc pour cette journée qui est consacrée à nos alumni et à leur reconnaissance, ainsi qu'à la reconnaissance de la réalisation de leurs accomplissements, je vous propose l'agenda suivant. Donc nous allons d'abord commencer par l'Assemblée générale de l'Association des anciens. Ah oui, c'est moi qui ai le clicker. J'avais deux trucs à manager en même temps, c'est pour ça. Merci. Et donc après l'AG, nous aurons une table ronde 100% alumni sur Navigating, What Future for Peace Mediation, Navigating Continuity and Change, donc une table ronde qui sera modérée par Achim Venman, qui est un alumnus, avec Jean-Pierre Gontard, Sabrina Buchler et Alexandre Libeskin, qui sont tous les trois des anciens spécialistes en médiation. Et puis, pendant ce temps-là, les panneaux de cette année, les portraits de cette année seront dévoilés dans le hall de la Villa Barton. On voulait les mettre à l'extérieur, mais malheureusement, le temps ne nous le permet pas aujourd'hui. Donc vous avez un certain nombre de portraits qui sont présentés ici. Et puis, dans la Villa, tout à l'heure, vous verrez qu'il y a des portraits finalement à tous les étages, les nouveaux portraits étant dans le hall principal. Et puis, à l'issue de la table ronde, nous remettrons 3 Alumni Awards à Jean-Pierre Gontard et Fatsa Ougergouz et à Savannah Dodd. Ce ne sont pas les mêmes awards, vous verrez tout à l'heure. De 4 à 6, donc toute la villa, tout le site Barton sera ouvert. Et puis vous aurez la liberté de passer partout, dans les anciennes chambres d'étudiants, voir ce qu'elles sont devenues. Sachez donc que ce domaine est à la location, donc si vous souhaitez peut-être organiser une fête privée ou peut-être des négociations particulières, que ce soit voilà, le CICR, des diplomates ou autres, l'idée est que le site Barton, le domaine Barton, revienne un peu ce qu'il était à l'origine, lorsque Alexandra Barton possédait cette propriété et était la reine de Genève et qu'elle recevait dans les salons qui sont toujours là, que vous verrez tout à l'heure, les salons verts comme on les appelle. Et puis, à partir de 19h, nous allons nous retrouver au Beau Rivage pour notre traditionnelle soirée, avec le repas de gala, la levée de fonds pour une bourse des alumni, au travers notamment d'une tombola. Et puis, bien sûr, la remise d'autres Alumni Awards, la partie dansante et les cash bars pour terminer la soirée au-delà de 1h du matin, je suppose. Et puis, comme... voilà, nous allons pouvoir commencer l'Assemblée générale. J'aimerais passer la parole à notre présidente, Madame Jasmine Danzayson. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Merci Karine. C'est vrai qu'on n'a jamais été aussi, ou en tout cas pas les dernières années, aussi nombreux pour l'Assemblée générale. Donc ça fait plaisir. Ça fait plaisir de vous voir tous. Bon, on voit quand même quelques personnes qui viennent chaque année, ça fait plaisir. Et voilà. Donc, bienvenue à l'Assemblée générale de l'Association des alumni. On est vraiment privilégiés d'avoir l'occasion de faire ça ici, dans ce lieu où on a tous, je pense, passé des moments inoubliables pendant nos études. Et bien évidemment, c'est aussi un endroit historique. Et comme Karine l'a dit avant, j'aimerais répéter ça aussi. C'est un endroit que vous pouvez louer pour des retraites avec votre organisation, votre entreprise, pour des réunions familiales. Le cadre, il est unique. À Genève, je ne pourrais même pas m'imaginer un autre endroit qui est aussi magnifique que celui-là. Les prix sont absolument abordables et personnellement, j'ai booké une chambre au pavillon pour ce soir et je peux vous dire que c'est vraiment magnifique. C'est comme dans un hôtel avec plein d'étoiles. Donc c'est parfait. Je recommande vivement et c'est aussi une façon, nous en tant qu'alumni, pour soutenir en fait l'Institut, puisque c'est une source aussi de revenus. Donc je vous encourage à aller visiter les lieux plus tard et voilà, d'avoir l'occasion aussi de louer l'endroit. Voilà, donc ça c'est l'Assemblée générale. Pour la partie officielle, vous voyez sur vos chaises, et on a le procès-verbal, le projet de procès-verbal de la dernière fois. J'aimerais bien vous demander, est-ce que vous avez des commentaires par rapport au procès-verbal? Est-ce qu'il y a des objections, des additions? Est-ce que vous avez des commentaires? Et si vous n'en avez pas, j'aimerais bien demander donc votre approbation. Est-ce que tout le monde approuve le procès-verbal de l'année passée? Oui, oui, pas d'objection. Super, parfait, parfait, super, merci beaucoup. Alors, je vais passer en anglais. So I'll switch to English for the rest of the General Assembly. Exactly. So who are we? So we are the Alumni Committee. We've been sitting on this committee for a few years. So my name is Jasmine Danzeisen. I have the pleasure of being the president of the committee since last year, when Natalie Africa stepped down after reaching the end of her tenure. And I have with me Ting Fang, who's the vice president. Ting, you've been on the committee, I think, since 2018, so quite a while as well. And then we have Suba, Jacqueline, Matthew, and Mahmoud, and the four of them joined us last year. So we had quite a renewal of the alumni committee because there is a limit in tenure, so there is a renewal there, and the four lovely people joined us. And then, in addition to those four, or to us that you see here, we also have Jessica Byron. She's been on the committee since 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and also Marcos Tourinho, based in Brazil. Both of them were with us last year, but they did not manage this year to travel from that far. So they're with us in spirit today, and they're throughout the year, however, very active members of the alumni committee. So you see, we are a very diverse group in every sense of the word. We come from all corners. We have different backgrounds. We work in different fields. I would say we represent really the diversity also that we have at the Credit Institute at the end. So that makes us very proud. There is one person that you don't see there that was there last time. That's Bryn. Bryn Dusa was a member of the committee from 2021 to actually this year. She decided to step down this year, unfortunately, but we understand she has a lot of great things that she does. And one of the things that she does, which makes us also very proud, she's a visiting lecturer at the MINT program of the Credit Institute. So she remains very close to the Credit Institute, even if she doesn't have the official role in the committee anymore. So we thank her very much for her commitment and dedication over the last couple of years. So that means that we're 8, as foreseen in the statutes. So we will remain as such for the time being. And I have to say, the committee is a very energetic, enthusiastic, and committed group. I really like the chemistry that we have among us. There's really deep appreciation for the time that we had at the Credit Institute and commitment to drive that forward. So it's a real pleasure to work with my colleagues. So yeah, thank you, absolutely. So let me share a couple of highlights. So what we tend to do as a committee, we meet every 6 weeks, so quite frequently. And in those meetings, what we do is we have actually Karin. What would we do without Karin? Because Karin is there every time, and she helps us really connect to the Credit Institute to make sure we know what's happening at the Credit Institute, that we're aligned. She engages us also and the wider alumni community in events with the students. We have, for instance, the Inspire Students roundtable that are organized, and that's a moment of exchanging and inspiring students from alumni to students. So by the way, it's also like this that I discovered when I was at the Graduate Institute of what I want to do later on. I joined one of these Inspire student sessions, and it inspired me so much that that's also what I'm doing now. So really, really a great moment of exchange. We had Jacqueline who joined a session last year. So that's one way of engaging. Then we also meet regularly with the director to understand what the strategic direction is of the Institute and see how we can support her best in this endeavor. A big focus for us is fundraising, because we want to make sure that students, brilliant students, no matter where they are, there is no visible or invisible barrier for them to join the Graduate Institute. And so fundraising and supporting the Graduate Institute in this endeavor is a big focus for us going forward. So you will hear more about this in the next coming month. There is also the Alumni Month. Maybe some of you have participated in activities around the Alumni Month. Jacqueline will shortly tell us a bit more about that. And actually, the Alumni Month culminated with a global Alumni Day. We did that for the first time this year. And we used the occasion of this global Alumni Day to reinvigorate the Geneva chapter. Some of you may know that, we tried that a few years ago, but then had a first nice event, but then unfortunately COVID hit. And people were not so keen on meeting up anymore. And the time was ripe this year again with a good representation, I would say, of Geneva in our new refreshed committee. And Matthew will tell you shortly more about the activities. And I see we have also Geneva chapter representatives here, which is very nice. Exactly. And what else do I want to share with you? We have Mahmoud and Shuba, who also will talk a bit more about the scholarship as a link to what I said before, the importance really of that role. And then exactly, and now I remember, it was the portal. So let me ask, who here has signed up to the alumni portal? Yes, very good. Super. So Alumni Portal, it was launched last year. You may remember, for those of you who were at the General Assembly, we communicated a very ambitious goal of sign-ups. And I'll hand over to Ting to tell us a bit more of whether we achieved our goal and where we stand. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the answer is a resounding yes. We set out our goal last year to have 2,000 signups on our alumni portal after 1 year of launch. Now we have actually reached the figure of more than 3,000. So thank you very much for those in this room that signed up. And thanks to the work of Karin's team, now we have also reached 85% of alumni who, this include alumni from the HEI and UED times. So there were 21,000 alumni since the beginning of these two institutes. So now we have only 3,000, about 15% of the alumni are not reachable. And thanks to more than 100 class leaders, they are being the bridge between the institute and alumni living in different corners of the world. And they are reached every year, twice a year, by Karin's team to provide updates and to, in a way, update this portal. And I think the goal is to have 9,000 updates by September this year. And most of the updates on this portal are updates on employer information. So whenever someone who signed up on the portal has changed his or her job, there is a way to send a message to Karin's team so the information can be updated. And the team is also working on a project that is following students who graduated for more than a year and to see their career development. There's also a project that is following students graduated after 3 years by departments to see how their career trajectory develops. So what can you do on this alumni portal? There are actually a lot of functions, and more functions are coming. You can access members' information, contacts information like email if you sign up. And you can exchange with alumni who are already on the platform. You can create discussion boards. You can publish events. And this does not only apply to Geneva-based people, but also chapters elsewhere. And soon there will be also a function to publish job opportunities. And the team is working on a mentoring program, so to be on this portal as well. So in the future, we will communicate more. And during the year, the communication with the alumni network has been robust. As we can see, we have 4,797 members on our LinkedIn group. And our Facebook account has more than 6,000 followers. And more than 1,000 followers on X account. The Global magazine is published every 6 weeks, I think. Yeah? 6 months, all right. Thank you. And there is also newsletters being sent every 6 months from Karin's team. All right, I think this is about our outreach to the alumni network. So I will pass floor to Jacqueline.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Ting. Good. Also, a big hello from my side. Bonjour. I would like to share some information in terms of the different chapters we have globally and also the ambassadors and how we continue to reconnect in person but also on the alumni portal. So in May, our director, Marie-Laure Salle, joined the 8th video conference with different chapters and ambassadors globally. And they were held on the 27th of May for North and South America, on the 29th of May for Europe, MENA, and Africa region, and also on the 29th of May for Asia and Oceania. And during those meetings, they were held online. There were a lot of feedbacks also coming back from the regions, from the chapters in terms of how can we continue to be connected through the platform, but also in person. One of the feedbacks that was also given was to have on the platform, for example, also health groups like a running chapter or thematic chapters, but also in terms of companies, because we are all working for different companies, for global companies. So also as a result out of that, we have now over 20 new groups that were formed on the platform. So the regions are in Ankara, in Barcelona, in Dubai, in Dushanbe, Geneva, Kiev, Istanbul, and other regions. And that really helps us to stay connected across the globe, across cities, and to stay connected. We also have new groups of professions from employers. We have now the World Economic Forum, where people can join that group on the platform. The OECD is also on there. We are looking also for other employers. In discussion are the ICRC, but also UBS. And we also have groups on thematic interest. We have from the FIO and also C4SI. And as you can see, for those who went on the platform, when you open it up, it shows the different regions, but then it can also show the employers. And we added here some pictures. As you can see, the alumni chapter had a reunion in Singapore, where also our director was able to join. I personally was last year in Ghana, in Accra, where we were invited by the ambassador of Switzerland to Ghana. And we also discussed how can we connect in Ghana to support also the local community, but also work on terms of Ghana-Switzerland relations, also connecting with the Graduate Institute. And a thing was also this year in Beijing, where he was invited also to present some of his work that he does. And as you can see here in the picture, we stay connected across the globe, across the region, and continue to really promote this community at the global level. Thank you. And I will now hand over to Matthew. Great.
I think it's my turn.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate that you're taking time to give us guidance on how we can be most useful to you. I'm Matthew Stevenson. I moved back from Washington, D.C. to Geneva a few years ago. I had the great honor to be able to learn from Paul Mathieu in Washington, D.C. how these things are run, and wanted to recognize and greet him here. But when I came back to Geneva, I was invited by the alumni committee that welcomed me last year to see if we could breathe life into the Geneva chapter. Now, this was a little bit tricky, the Geneva chapter, because we're all already in Geneva and the Graduate Institute is in Geneva. So how exactly should we go about it? We weren't really sure. But we wanted to make sure to listen to you and to be demand-driven. So the first thing we did was to have an inaugural event here in the Maison de la Paix with about 100 alumni, where we asked you in 6 focus groups, what would you like to see from a Geneva chapter? What kind of activities? How often? How could we be most useful? And through distilling all of that input, we realized that there were really 2 major tracks and major activities that were demanded, a social side and a professional side. And so we created a sort of a way forward with the committee to really drive these 2 tracks to provide value and service and activities for the Geneva community. And I'd like to recognize Julien Wallet-Rouget and Eugenio Bornetto that are on the committee amongst the 9 members and who've done tremendous work this year to make things happen. On the social side, we've held 2 events. The first one was a cave ouverte that was all masterminded by Julien here. You'll see photos in a second, so it'll come to life. But we went to 3 different caves in the commune of Jussy. It was a beautiful day, and explored a little the countryside together. And then again on the social side, we organized a Fête de la Musique outing, and Julien was able to make a flag, which shone even at night. And so we were able to go from 4 to 4 different music stops, and people were joining us organically. People were interested in the Geneva chapter or curious about it. Old professors, old alumni found us spontaneously that way. Moving to the professional side, we have 2 events cooking. We didn't want to hold them too close to this reunion because we wanted to give it space. But next month and the month after, we'll be headed to UNHCR and then ITU to respectively 2 different members of the committee work in each place. And they're welcoming us in order to understand the organization a bit better and also deep dive in a specific topic relative to the organization. So overall, we have 3 key activities: social events, professional events, and we're working also on fundraising for scholarships given the mandate of the alumni group. We'll actually have more information about all this. We'll be at, over there if you want to talk to us at, from 4 to 6, so we can share more information. But I think the main thing to remember, exactly as Jasmine said, if you're not on the alumni portal, and if you don't click join the Geneva chapter on it, we can't really communicate with you. So I think it's a call to all of you that if you want to hear what's happening, that's the easiest mechanism for us to be able to communicate. Now it's more fun this way. Now you see in life what really happened. This is the inaugural event right here. Then we have Julien organizing the outing in Jussy. We have the flag that I mentioned with Mahmoud and the other members of the committee. That's the bigger picture, you know, at night. We had a lunch at the World Economic Forum precisely to breathe life into these organization-based groups, and we encourage more organization-based groups to be organized. And then our kind of visits to UNHCR and ITU. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Matthew. I feel like joining the Geneva chapter now. Unfortunately, I'm not in Geneva, but welcome everyone. And it's great that there's more and more people joining the session this afternoon. So the next part will be scholarships. You know, some of the more important work that we are involved in is also kind of fundraising, as Yasmin said. And one of the, the direct donations that comes in through the scholarship web page, and also during the raffles at the alumni reunion, like tonight, is going directly to support excellent students that don't have the necessary means maybe to pursue the education. And you actually find in the program that you have hold in your hands on the third page, you'll see a description of Amruta Somasekaran Nair, who actually is from a rural village in India. And this year she was able to secure the scholarship, and she has expressed her gratitude and for the opportunity to also, coming from a rural village, to be able to study in international Geneva. She's pursuing the international and development studies here at the Institute. And the prizes, as Yasmin also mentioned at the beginning, so scholarships and prizes are also kind of a very important element of the work we do. Yesterday at the graduation, there were a couple of students who were able to, secure excellent prizes. And Mahmoud will also speak about kind of the second prize. And one of the prizes was received by Meenakshi Nair Ambujam, who actually got the prize for best PhD thesis from ANSO. Her thesis is called Landless, with my title deed, Rethinking Landless in Adivasi Life in Telangana, India. Speaking about such an important topic, her thesis offers valuable insights into the complex ways in which state bureaucracies in India simultaneously produce land titles and landlessness. And another excellent addition is that she was the recipient of the Alumni Community Scholarship in 2016. So that also shows the kind of the long-term impact of the scholarship as well. And I also had the pleasure yesterday in joining one of the graduation sessions for the international Masters in International and Development Studies, and had the pleasure of delivering the commencement speech. And it's just amazing to see how kind of the new generation of students is coming together, and for us also to be able to, as alumni, to connect with them at the stage at this point, and to be able to kind of share our advice, or whatever we can share from our experiences. So I think it's also one of the more important work that we do. It's my pleasure to hand over to Mahmoud.
It is nice to see how the room is filling in little by little. At this rate, I think about at 5 o'clock it will be fully, everybody will be here. Thank you for your presence. One special thing that happened this year is that the quality of thesis presented was so high that actually the jury had to have 2 prizes and not only one. So the second prize, we heard about the first one, and the second was Christine Tone. Her thesis was on defending democracy in the European Parliament, an ethnography of political parties and institutional rules. These prizes are awarded, and after a certain number of years, they come on our list. It was defended in 2022. And her thesis explores an understudied institution using ethnography to shed light on its internal workings. Through an interactionist approach, she reveals how a democratic institution focused on the rule of law also provides a platform for the far right, contributing to the normalization of illiberal ideas. Who has the next? Starting 2013, preparing ourselves for the 100th anniversary of the creation of the Institute, we have annually brought together our global alumni every year at the reunions that we celebrate every year here in Geneva. And we introduced awards for distinguished alumni and alumni as of 2016. We nurture collegiality amongst alumni, promote the Institute, and support engagement with students. As alumni, we are also responsible for the progress and growth and development of this institution, so we are all also responsible to make sure that the name of the Institute is spread and that we help also recruit the qualified and talented people who are there and who deserve to be studying here at the Institute. This year we have with us now Fatsa, who is one of the awardees of this year. He's of Algerian origin and a renowned international law expert specializing in peaceful dispute resolution. He served as a judge at the African Court on Human and People's Rights and the African Development Bank Tribunal, and he was the secretary of the International Court of Justice. He chaired the UN Human Rights Council Burundi inquiry and contributed to international arbitration, sitting on various tribunals. And he was a visiting professor at several institutions, including the Graduate Institute. We will have presentations of other awardees also during the ceremony tonight. Now I pass on to
me. Okay, we're actually coming to the end of our General Assembly. So you see here our priorities for the coming years. I would summarize it in 3 key priorities. So one is really nurturing this alumni community. Today is really the culmination of it. It's the celebration when we come together and think back of our beautiful time that we had here, but also look forward. So that's one part, but also throughout the year we want to continue nurturing the community, using also the platform that gives us new ways of engaging, but also not forgetting that the human interaction is very important. So we want to also meet physically, not only virtually, but of course the virtual world also allows us a bit to expand and go a bit beyond the city connections, but also connect globally through joint interests, for instance. So we see that happening more and more, as Ting and Jacqueline were sharing, and we want to encourage that even further. As a few of us are in Geneva, so the Geneva chapter has had such a great start, and we want to continue also supporting this chapter, because at the end of the day, it's the place where we have most of our alumni. So we really want to make sure that we continue with that presence here, and we support also the Geneva chapter from the alumni committee, and Matthew is very heavily involved there, and will continue to do so. And then the third important aspect is, of course, the students, really having opportunities to exchange with students, to inspire them, and as we said before, to support them. So that's something we clearly saw this year, is where we want to become more active in. The alumni community, the committee here recorded a video yesterday that we will put on social media soon for the wider alumni community, and you can expect to see a bit more of that also, really, that we that support that we want to give and ensure that the different regions of this world, people from everywhere have the possibility to come and benefit from the excellent education we got here that is probably more important today than ever in the past few decades. We are actually done, and we have 20 minutes until the next session starts. So if you have any questions, please shoot. If you have any comments, please shoot. Once we finish, we can also, of course, mingle and exchange. We're eager to hear from you if you have any ideas or thoughts or so. We're here for that. And I see, Monsieur Morillon, you have a comment, please.
Thank you. I think you hear me better that way, don't you? With this thing. I have two suggestions. One for the Geneva chapter. I assume that you have lists of alumni by institution. For instance, all those who've been through the ICRC and who are still today in the ICRC. Those who are in UNHCR, people who've been in both sometimes, or like Lazzarini in UNRWA and UNHCR, ICRC. And I was wondering whether you may not start the process by getting together the people who belonged or still belong to one institution and have been at the institute. I think if you look at the list of people here, ICRC, I speak of course for ICRC, Gontard, Modou, Boisard, Libeskind, who's going to receive the prize, etc., Mr. Fan, you have plenty of people from the days of Jacques Frémont up to now who are or have been at the ICRC. And I think that if you were to invite them, perhaps jointly they have a very well organized alumni circle at the ICRC. You could co-organize this with the ICRC alumni, organize a special event just for those who are or have been at the ICRC as a starter for the Geneva chapter, and do the same, of course, with UNHCR and all the rest. So that is suggestion number one. Suggestion number two, the chapters meeting. The chapter is possibly the best idea that came out of our starting committee 20 years ago. One way to have the chapters meet with an additional dimension could be to have them all throughout the world separately meet on May 16th, which the UN General Assembly has declared the International Day of Living Together in Peace. The Graduate Institute has always been peace-driven, so to say, or at least peace-interested. And it seems to me that it's a way of reminding all of those who are out there in the field that there is one day which unanimously the UN General Assembly has declared the International Day Living Together in Peace. There is an organization which is called ISA, with whom I can put you in contact, which organized this year after year in different cities. Geneva was the place for this year's meeting on the 16th of May. It lasted 3 days. It was an enormous event. There was a big meeting at the UN, there were receptions at the level of the canton, of the city of Geneva, etc., etc. So these people are well trained, I would say, in many countries of the world on how to organize this kind of thing, to give you the principles of that were decided upon by the UN General Assembly, etc. It seems to me that if one could create a link there, it would possibly give more strength to those chapters meeting. These are my two suggestions.
Very, very good thoughts. Thanks a lot for sharing. I think that has resonated well with us. And Mahmoud, I see you on the International Day of Peace, and in the context of the Global Alumni Month and Day, this could definitely be something to consider.
Jasmine, maybe I can
Yes.
react a little bit. First of all, thank you, sir. I think those are excellent points. I think we started to do something in that direction, but not as well as you articulated it. Because, for example, at the OECD and at the World Economic Forum, they brought together all the folks currently working there, but not all the people who had been working there. So we did organize organization-based meetups, but your idea is better because it's the people who had been working there, and that's the next step, I think. So we've started that process by having a list, thanks to the Institute, of who is currently there. And I think now we can take it to the next step and who has been there. So I think that, so we're in that direction, and you're giving us encouragement. And then on the second point, again, I think it's great. We had something a little bit in mind with this Global Alumni Day, which is in September.
It's in March.
In March?
The idea is to have
In March.
events in September
Yeah.
and
In March. So between March and May, but I think we had in mind that same idea of bringing everybody together on one day. But maybe we can think about how we can reflect a little bit the peace dimension. But and that started 2 years ago, I think. So we're on the same page. How can we bring everyone together? But maybe the peace way is a more effective way through that day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I can walk around with a mic.
Thank you very much. I was just wondering, I have seen that there was a change of program for this afternoon, which was reported in some Swiss newspapers. And I was wondering if we would receive some information about this change of program and if this would be discussed this afternoon or not.
I think that's a Karine question, no?
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself as well, please? Yeah. Okay.
About any changes in the program this afternoon? He thought there might be a change in the program compared to the one on the list, or not? In the news?
If I may give some context, originally there should have been a debate and international, and this has been changed to another program. And there have been media reports in NZZ and the France about this change. And I was wondering if we could discuss this concept.
Well, I mean, it's not a debate, it's not a discussion about that. So we have the opening of the Hoffman Center on 23rd of September, if my memory is correct. And Mrs. Veder Di Mauro, who was supposed to mediate the debate, is now with Mr. Hoffman. And she wasn't sure to be in time to come back. And so the topic would be the same in a week. So we said, okay, we have also peace and mediation chair, which is a new one too. So we have these two new things. And we thought, well, if the debate will be the same in a week or two, then let's go for the peace and mediation topic. And so that was it. So there is not a debate or a discussion on the topic. Thanks to you.
And plus the topic fits very well with also the historic location of Barton. Thank you, Karine. Any other questions, comments? It's beautiful that we have a General Assembly with so many people. It's great.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Gerardo Mendoza. I'm from Mexico. Thank you for your advices and your priorities as a council. I'm about to start my semester on Monday. So I guess I just want to ask the alumni committee, general advices, stuff that we should know or you wish you knew in your studies, just for us to be mindful of our experience. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Actually, question, Karine, will our commencement speeches be online? Yes, okay. So we'll send you a link to our commencement speeches. But a general advice is really, something I wish I had known in 2007 is just enjoy yourself. Also kind of really enjoy those 2 years. And I think everyone really joins the Institute also having like a lot of dreams, a lot of ambitions, but also have the courage to change direction, like even if you don't really, like after your graduation, don't get where you want to go, just to be brave also to change that. So I think that will be my advice.
Maybe if I can just bring also one advice, there's an African metaphor that we say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And it's also around the community. So you are there as one student, but you have a lot of other students there as well. So connect, network. You can't do it all by yourself. So really make sure that you find a group, good friends, and work with them together and study hard and enjoy.
And start that right today, because at 4 o'clock to 6 there is open door, and alumni and students will all be around and take advantage of the opportunity to have one-on-one conversations too.
And my advice is to study really hard. I was given a metaphor of a gym the other day in my work, and they said, like, life is like a gym, right? You can have a membership, but if you don't go and if you don't work out, you get no benefits. So think of this as a workout for the mind. The harder you work out, the better your mind results will be. So I say work really hard.
Thank you. Very good. So you see, if you ask these questions, you can get a role here, and I'm sure lots of people here would have ideas as well. So mingle, definitely. Yes? Very good. And I think with that, and being mindful of time and the next session starting in 5 minutes, thank you very much for your attention, for having been with us for the last hour. And yes, it's the beginning of a long day of festivities, and we look forward to it. Thank you, everyone.